Just on to the vaccine rollout and what we're seeing in the United Kingdom. They're heading for Freedom Day in 2 weeks, Senator. Is this the true definition of living with the virus?
Well, it's great to see countries like the UK opening up. Of course, the UK are still suffering hundreds of deaths a week from the virus. So there's no real comparison between the UK and here in Australia, where we haven't had a single Australian die this year, at least from COVID caught in Australia. So I think everything is relative when you've gone through such a tough time, such a hard year as the UK has. Of course, their Freedom Day is going to feel much different from perhaps our Freedom Day, where we haven't had the same trauma to go through over the past year. But I'd much prefer to be in our situation where we haven't had to go to those depths and therefore may not experience the peaks as well. I think here we are getting there. We're now seeing over 8 million Australians vaccinated. We're getting up close to a third of Australians vaccinated, over 70% of older Australians vaccinated. More vaccines are coming soon. And I'm confident by the end of the year, we will reach a stage where vaccines are widely available, and that will mean that we can return to normal.
Yeah, and the pace is definitely picking up, no doubt about that. We're at about 30% for first jab, 9% for second jab so far. Hey, there's a petition getting around Queensland at the moment that it says that the Premier shouldn't be getting an exemption to go to the Olympics. What do you think of that? Should she get an exemption or not?
I'm happy for the Premier to go to Japan if that's what we need to do to secure the Olympics. I don't want to see the hard work of hundreds of bureaucrats threatened by the Premier's gross hypocrisy over the past week. She should be criticised for that hypocrisy. Perhaps, as others have suggested to me, we should let her go, but she should join the queue, join the queue of other Australians to get back in that she has made longer by her government's inability to manage quarantine properly. I don't agree with the decision last week to halve our quarantine intake. I think it's a terrible blow for Australians seeking to come back to their own country. And really, it's a failure of our country not to be able to continue to ease the ability for Australians to come home rather than have to snap back to greater restrictions.
Yeah, and it's a big deal, as we know, not just for Queensland, but for Australia when those Olympics eventually do come here. And just finally, and just a quick one, Senator, the Environment Minister is lobbying UNESCO to try and overturn that in danger classification for the reef, bearing in mind that China's got representation on UNESCO. Is there any chance of that being overturned?
Well, I don't know. I wish the Environment Minister all the best. There's 21 countries on this UNESCO committee. China chairs it, and 14 of those 21 countries have signed up to the Belt and Road Initiative. So the odds don't look great for us. But we've, in some respects, only got ourselves to blame. We've created a rod for our own back when we have allowed our own government agencies to write the most exaggerated doomsday-like scenarios about the Great Barrier Reef. And when you go and read UNESCO's draft decision to list the Great Barrier Reef in danger, they don't quote China, they don't quote the Belt and Road Initiative. UNESCO quote Australian government reports. And so it's a bit hard for us now to argue against this conclusion when we haven't combated the misinformation that's been spread about the reef for decades by our own government agencies.
All right. Senator Matt Canavan, we're out of time. Talk to you soon.